Welcome to the Modernize or Die podcast, CFML News Edition, where we keep you up to date with everything going on in the Cold Fusion community. We'll share the latest news on events, releases to engines, frameworks, libraries, and tools, as well as spotlighting quality content from the community. Welcome to Modernize or Die podcast, CFML News Edition. It's episode 153. It's June 21st, and sorry for all the technical difficulties for all those lovely people waiting in the chat for us there.
Yeah, I'm going to blame it on the summer solstice.
It might be that, or it might just be that I blew up Google. So I think it was. I deleted a bunch of old files off my Google Drive, about 10 terabytes of data, to be honest. And I think the sync just killed it. And so, of course, all the assets for the show are on there, and OBS freaked out when I couldn't find anything. Long story short, sorry everybody. We got lots of content, though, so we better get moving. So, thanks everybody for tuning in. For those who don't know me, I'm Gavin Pickin, Senior Developer, Ortus Solutions, and Daniel Galaxie is joining me today, who's also a Senior Developer, Ortus Solutions.
Hello, everyone.
Yep.
And so, as always, we want to kick off saying thank you to our sponsors, Ortus Solutions, the makers of ColdBox, CommandBox, ForgeBox, TestBox, and all your favorite boxes. It no longer says boxing. Somebody changed it. A few ways to say thanks, Pax to Ortus. You can absolutely buy some Into the Box tickets and come to our conference and see all of us. Like and subscribe to our videos on YouTube. Help Ortus reach for the stars. And like and star and fork our repos. We do have a way that Eric Peterson made it very simple to do all that automatically. Subscribe to our podcast on your podcast app. Sign up for a free or paid account in CFCasts, releasing content all the time. Buy some merch. Go to our Box Life store. There's some really cool shirts and everything else there. And as always, you can buy Ortus's book, 102 ColdBox HMDC Tips and Tricks.
Yep, there's a lot of stuff there for sure. And then we also want to thank our Patreon supporters. We have 37 Patreons that are providing 100% of the funding for this podcast, which is very cool. And then we're also making progress on Goal 2, which is to fully fund ForgeBox.io. And that recovers, covers all our storage costs and everything, S3 and all that. And we have a lot of the way there is already too. So 44% of the way there for funding that as well.
Awesome.
So, very cool. And then we do have the Motorsports Reg job posting. We'll be talking about in the job section, but we're going to jump straight into the news and announcements. Okay, so first up, Into the Box updates. As usual, every week we have tons and tons of updates. So remember, the super early bird pricing finished at the end of May, but we still have early bird pricing, so you guys can still get a good deal if you buy your tickets before the end of June. And we also had some cool new content. And if you were watching the podcast last week, you would have heard about our pre-conference announcement. So we do have a couple of blogs and podcasts out. So if you want to find out more about Brad's workshop, he has a podcast, the CFML conference edition version of our podcast. And so we were meeting with Brad to talk about getting started with BDD, TDD, and TestBox. So he talks about that workshop. And I just jumped straight over your piece. Sorry there.
No worry. Keep going, man. Keep going. I'll post the link.
Sorry. And then, we announced the pre-conference. So last week we talked about Into the Box now has a third track, essentially. It's a pre-conference setup. And we'll be telling you a little bit more about that. But there's a blog post about that as well. And then we have a couple more workshop videos. So we have the Vue.js Spire mobile app REST API workshop. That's with me and Daniel Garcia. So we talked about our workshop and what you'll get from that. And then last but not least, the workshop for John Clausen. So if you're looking at doing TestBox, containerizing and scaling your applications with John Clausen. It doesn't have TestBox in the name anymore. I messed that one up when I put it in the show notes. So yeah, so if you want to meet Captain Container and learn all about workshops, John is doing a lot of cool stuff in that workshop. And he even has a piece where if you bring your own code, you guys will actually work on that at the end of the day. So you could actually walk away with a containerized application that you brought from home, which is pretty neat. So
awesome.
Wow, sorry.
Captain Container. I don't know if I heard that nickname before for John. That's awesome.
Yeah. We used to call him Captain Container. Eric was the module maestro. Plenty of interesting names.
I mean, you're Coach Gavin, so
yeah. Apparently, I'm Coach Gavin now. But before that, I was I don't remember. It was Gavino something. I forget. But so anyway, lots of blog posts there, and we'll touch on them quickly in the blog section. But the big announcement last week is our special pre-conference track. So due to COVID and lots of other reasons, schedules and everything else, some of the community speakers aren't able to make it into the box this year. So we decided to try to include them anyway. And after much discussion and debate, we decided that the best way to get the best speakers at the conference and the best content and having speakers in front of people while they're actually at the conference is to have the third track of the conference calling a pre-conference track. And so for that, we're basically doing it remote the week before. So Dev Week format, so Monday, August 29th through Friday, September the 2nd. Each day we'll have 2 sessions, 11 a.m. Central and 2 p.m. Central. The sessions will be live, there'll be Q&A, and it'll be all done via Zoom for those ITB attendee ticket holders. We will be recording the sessions as well, and so they'll be part of the CFCasts for after the conference like usual, but we're also going to make them downloadable so that those people that are attending the conference can actually download them and watch them on the plane. As we discussed last week, I'm the only one dumb enough maybe to do that, but I thought it'd be a cool idea. So you could watch some of that, before the conference, and that way you've just got extra content. So it basically makes it like we have a third track. And we're going to even have a viewing area so you can watch those pre-recorded ones at the conference as well. So we're excited about announcing that last week. And then this week we have a few names. So these are some of the confirmed speakers, and we have more to come. So at this pre-conference, you want to tell us who are these amazing speakers we have lined up for this ITB pre-conference?
Absolutely. All names that you know. We got Mark Takata, we got Charlie Earhart, Ray Camden, Matthew Clemente, Brian Rinaldi, and our very own Michael Bourne.
Yep. So they're going to be talking about lots of different things. Mark is going to be talking about working with PDFs inside of Cold Fusion using DDX. Ray Camden's actually going to be talking about PDF services, so a different way to work with them via Cold Fusion. And then Charlie is going to be talking about Docker images, and so he's going to be comparing and contrasting the CommandBox Docker image with what Adobe and Lucy actually offer. So there are some cool things, and they are catching up those other images, and so Charlie is going to be talking about those. And Brian Rinaldi, I don't know if you guys remember. Do you remember Brian from the older days? I mean, I know that sounds pretty mean saying older days and everything, but
I do, but that's because I am old as well, Gavin. So.
Yep. And so Brian Rinaldi is going to be in there. He's going to be talking about feature flags. So I don't know if anybody reads Ben Liddell's blog. Maybe a few of you guys do, but Ben loves feature flags, right? And so Brian Rinaldi actually works. He works for Launch Darkly, which is the company Ben uses all the time. And so he's going to be talking about feature flags, and we just got a lot of great content, and we'll be announcing the schedule next week. We'll have some TB announced for those extra spots as well. But we got a lot of great content and a lot of more speakers that we're still trying to confirm dates. There's a lot of travel going on and everything, so people are trying to get back to us, so we'll have that soon. But I'm pretty excited. Like I said, these are great speakers that normally they're at Into the Box. We have them there, and they can't make it, but you're still going to get the great content from there, so it will be cool.
Yep, this is definitely shaping up to be an awesome Into the Box.
Yep.
Stupid COVID, but hey, this is very cool.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, we're looking at different dates for next year to try and offset this whole back to school summer rush, and Adobe always has their conference at certain times. So we're looking at other dates already for next year. So hopefully we'll find something which doesn't clash with anything, and everybody can come, and life will be better. Okay. So new releases and updates. We did have a Mew feature rolled out last week, the CommandBox Server Manager task services that Brad announced. We also have just something. ColdBox 6.7 is about to be cut. Like, honestly, like any day. Luis is finishing up documentation. We've been having beta tests and everything. So if you guys are using ColdBox, try 6.7, the bleeding edge. Run it through any tests that you have. Just let us know, because we do want to have that cut. And so any last minute things that you find, let us know, because 6.7 is about to go gold. Well, I don't know if they call it gold for that. Anyways. Live, yeah. There's gold, like 70 downloads. Maybe it's not gold yet, but yeah. So that's another release that is coming very, very soon here. And we did have one more update for you as well. Scott Steinbeck has added with a pull request Mailgun Support to CBMailServices. So that release is out, and so that is actually one of the blog posts we're talking about there. So you don't have to actually use the extra module anymore. So I built a module for Mailgun a while ago. It's up on ForgeBox, but I know all the new updates and the new CBMailServices came out. We're slowly updating those, and Scott went and did it all, and we added it to the core. So now supports it in the core. So pretty cool. So thanks, Scott, for doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Your turn. Webinars, meetups,
Breathe.
and workshops. Yep.
Breathe, Gavin, breathe. Okay, so coming up, we have the online CF Meetup, how to find, install, implement third-party libraries in CFML with Gavin Pickin. It'll be this Thursday, June 23rd, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific, which is really Pacific time, 11 a.m. Central time. That's all we need to know about it, and everyone else can figure out their times from there. In the meetup, Gavin will show you how to find, install, and implement third-party libraries in CF, how you can do that, why are there different things you can do, and just go to it. They're awesome.
Yep. Thanks again, Charlie, for having me there. And then next up, in case you missed it, we did another live stream series, Coding with a Kiwi and Friends. And so last week I ambushed Kai Koenig and had him come on and talk to me about databases, ORM, and database testing. So for those lucky Patreon supporters, you guys got access to actually watch that free in the live stream and join in. And the funny thing is because just like today, technical difficulties, basically I decided I should probably rename it Coding Disasters with the Kiwis and not friends. They were hecklers. They're heckling from the cheap seats. But no, so we had to go through, debug it. So my computer was giving me issues, so I restarted it, and then Zoom froze and I couldn't get into the meeting. And then basically after that, CommandBox wouldn't start, and I found out it's because I used a certain password. So the password had a special character in it, which broke the JVM, which broke CommandBox starting up. And so we worked through that. We did start recording after we started debugging it, because everyone's like, we should record this. This is kind of interesting. And I'm like, okay, I don't mind failing in public. I do it all the time. So, but once we did get that figured out, we went through and started talking about databases and migrations and how to test databases and everything. So it was pretty good. We had fun with that. We did a little bit at the end, sort of like just talking about services and using Quick and QB and sort of how to do that versus just running queries. But the next week we're going to be looking at Quick and QB properly. So all the code in that one was like pseudocode, because this week Coding with the Kiwi and Friends on Friday the 24th at 1 p.m. Again, if you're a Patreon, you should get an email. If you don't, then go check. I think Box Team Slack, we now have a Patreon channel, so if you're not in there, ping me and I'll get you invited to it. But all Patreons can come to the live stream, and we're going to be talking with Sam Knowlton and David Rogers from InLeague about Quick and QB. So we're going to get our models set up, we're going to get it pulling from the database, we're going to get, our tests will be working. Don't worry, Adam, we wrote tests for last week. Even though you weren't there, we still wrote some tests. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, so I'm excited for that one. It's working nicely. I like the flow. We talk a lot, we code a little, but it's still pretty good. And I'm enjoying it. I think everybody else is too. So, and Peter was there, and he said it was a great session. So we got to trust Peter. He knows what he's talking about.
He does, and we'll find out even more very soon.
Yep.
And for those that don't know, obviously, Coding with Kiwi is Coding with Gavin, because New Zealanders are called Kiwis.
And it's not the fruit. We're birds.
Right. Gavin is a bird.
Yeah. We also talked about, didn't we talk about which continent it is after last week's episode? We said it was which continent New Zealand was on, and we had a little debate, and apparently they've changed the record book since I went to school. Anyway, so what else we got going on?
There's a lot more countries since I was a kid. So this week on Friday, the Ortus Webinar, the monthly Ortus Webinar for June, getting started with the legacy migration with Dan Codd. Friday at 11 a.m. Central. He's going to look at the process of converting a legacy CFM to more modern coding. We'll post the links here. This is kind of a precursor to what his workshop is going to be at Into the Box. So definitely want to check that out.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great session. So join us there, and I'll be in the chat heckling him. Helping you, but it'll be a good session. And then we have the Seattle Cold Fusion User Group meeting in June. It's going to be June 23rd. So that's busy week this week. That's going to be 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific time. So you guys can do the math for Central. And that's available up there on meetup.com.
Perfect, got that. So next are several Adobe workshops. In case you missed it, there was one on Wednesday, June 15th with Brian Sappy. We've got one tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central European time with Damian Bruindox. We've got one this Thursday, the 23rd at 10 a.m. Pacific time, exploring the CF Administrator Part 2 with Mark Takata. And then another one on Thursday, July 28th, making games with Adobe Code Fusion, again with Mark Takata. That's 10 a.m. Pacific time. We'll get all those links out there and several workshops for you to go and check out.
Yeah, and the full list is up there on the Adobe website, and we'll share that one as well. And again, all this content is free.
Yep, it does feel like, things are starting to get more and more back to normal with all the content and the workshops and webinars from everybody, and it's nice.
Yep, for sure. Okay, next up, CFCasts. We have a lot of content on CFCasts, so I'm going to pop open my screen here to show if that's working. So you'll see that we have Coding with the Kiwis. We have a couple of videos up there. So if you guys are not Patreon supporters, you can't join live, but you can still go check it up out here on CFCasts. We also have some Logbox videos and some VS Code hints, tips, and tricks of the week. And we've got the ForgeBox ones as well. So a lot of content's coming through. Oh, and your Publish Your First ForgeBox package. So we got new videos on all 5 of those this week. So that's a lot of good content coming your way. Most of it is free. There is some paid content as well, but a lot of good stuff. Okay, so coming soon though, we have the last couple of videos from my Publish Your First ForgeBox package, so they're coming out. Eric is still releasing content in that Logbox 101 series. Again, the Coding with the Kiwi will still be coming up, and then we've got a couple more of those ForgeBox and VS Code podcast snippet videos to catch up on, and then what I'm working on next is boxifying third-party libraries from Gavin. So if you didn't realize there's a little trend here with third-party libraries and all that stuff, it'll be a good one. So we're going to be taking some stuff. Ben Adele's given me permission to actually work on some of his stuff that he has on up there on GitHub, and so I'll be basically adding it to ForgeBox and then working on actually boxifying it to make it even easier to work with as a module and stuff like that with ColdBox. So a lot of cool stuff coming CFCasts, so keep an eye out.
Great. Hey, really quick, I want to give a quick shout out to Carlos Guzman. This is his first Modernize or Die podcast, so thank you for joining us, Carlos.
Oh.
I think there's some other people that haven't been around in a while, like my buddy Nick. I don't know if he's there right now, but he said he might be. Cool. So yeah, if you're in the podcast, say hello, shout out. We like hearing from you. And
yep, we got the usual suspects are there already. We got Adam Cameron, Peter Mary, John Farrar, Scott. So you got some Nick as well. Let's see who else is chit-chatting in here today. Yeah, so good number. So Nick did make it. Very cool.
Yeah, Nick's awesome. Everyone's awesome, but he is also awesome. Okay. Joseph. Hey, hello, Joseph.
Oh, yeah. Joseph's in there, too. Nice. Okay. Conferences and training. What do we got?
Okay. Several coming up. So first up is the Quasar Conf. That's going to be on Saturday, July 9th at 3 p.m. GMT. It's a Quasar conference.
Yep. Their blog post is out there, so you guys can check that out. And that one has a call for speakers, which I believe is over now, but they should have more information coming out soon. Again, it's nice and short and sweet, a few hours, little short sessions, and away we go. Oh, wow, Joseph's from Kenya. Very cool.
Oh, wow. Awesome, Joseph.
That's cool. I don't know how many we have from Kenya listening every week. That's pretty cool. Nice. Well, we also have another conference coming up, that conference. So that conference is going to be in July 25th through the 28th, Wisconsin Dells. It's a 4-day summer camp for developers passionate about learning all things mobile, web, cloud, and technology. And they even have cool water slides and everything there. It's a family affair, and Daniel is taking his family, and he's going to be speaking there. So you excited, Daniel? You're counting down the days?
I am. I'm counting down days till I start putting my presentation together. Actually, it's mostly put together. I got to, review it and test it and One of the things I talk about is ngrok, and there's been some updates to ngrok, so I need to make sure I test that and all that cool stuff.
Very cool. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great session, and yeah, I'm really jealous because I really like water parks, and at the same time, I'll be up in San Jose for my kids' water polo junior Olympics, so that'll keep me busy. But maybe next year.
Hey, change your mind, we'll get you a cot. I think my wife and son will mind, probably.
They might.
They might.
The Adobe Developer Week is coming up too, so July 18th through the 22nd. It's online, virtual, and free, and it's got a lot of cool people. I might be a little biased because I'm on that list, but there's a lot of cool speakers, and you should recognize most of them here. So we've got Aditya, and they've added some new names. I don't remember a couple of these from last time. So got Brian, two Brians, Charlie's there, Dave is there, David, another David. So you got David Byers and Tadasol, myself, Giancarlo, Kitri. I remember seeing some of the sessions, but there's a lot of good speakers here. So the usual suspects and a couple of newer ones too. But it looks like it's going to be a lot of good content. The gender is out as well. So yeah, it's going to be good. Register. Adobe needs you to register so you can get into the action there. Sorry, I messed up that again. We got a color coding system to help us figure out who's talking about what, but whenever he highlights something, it looks like he's going to paste it instead of that.
Oh, is that what's going on?
That's what's confusing me, yeah, because so I'm just off today. Sorry, everybody. But I'll just do the next one anyway. So Vue.js Forge is next up after that, July 13th and 14th. And so that's basically a hackathon, and you get to work on a cool app. The project is going to be a project management SaaS app, and it's going to be built in Vue.js. And so you'll be learning about all sorts of cool new stuff, and I'm going to be working with a team. I signed up, so they're going to randomly assign me to a team, so I'll meet the team and get to work with them. And it's basically a 2-day hackathon, make connections, build together, learn together. And this is run by VueSchool.io. So it looks like a lot of fun. You guys should sign up, and yeah. Hopefully we can have some fun. I'm going to learn a lot because it's going to be doing things a little differently than I would normally. It's using Pinia too instead of Vuex, which I've never used, and know, so it'll be a learning experience for sure. So I'm excited about that.
Right on. And by the way, I don't think anyone's going to complain if you talk more than me. So I think that's why the people show up for the Kiwi.
I don't know about that. So. Everyone likes the accent apparently until you get used to it. My wife is still complaining. So.
Oh man. Okay, well, coming up next, Into the Box 2022. We're very excited. September 6th, 7th, and 8th. The first day will be on the 6th. Will be the one-day workshops. We got, I believe, 5 of those. And then the 7th and 8th are all the other cool the other cool sessions and everything. Super early bird pricing did end of May. But you can still sign up for the workshops. We get the links out there. We've been putting blog content out there, interviews with the different workshop hosters, trainers.
Maybe I should talk more.
No, according to Adam, not everyone likes the accent. Maybe it's just your accent, Adam. I don't know if you guys are from different parts of the island, and
nope. Just we grew up about 30 minutes away from each other, roughly.
Oh, okay.
For the most part, yeah.
Okay, well.
Anyway, it's all good. Yeah. Apparently, yeah, I do sound more like an American. So basically, after a year of being over here, when I went back to New Zealand, everyone was like, "Where are you from? Where in America are you from?" It's like, yeah. But the second trip I went back, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can hear that New Zealand accent. This is ridiculous." So it was annoying. Because it's like I shouldn't have an accent. I should be able to hear everybody else's accent. This is not right. So whereas
we're all like, Gavin, you sound like you're from Australia, not knowing any better.
Yeah, I've had worse. Okay, so lots of great content there. Check out the ITB blog, and then we do post summaries on the Ortus blog. Otherwise, you'd be smothered there too. But yeah, we have CF Summit coming up as well. So Adobe's going to be hosting CF Summit at the Mirage in Las Vegas, October 3rd and 4th. It's going to be pretty cool, and they have a third day, which is their Adobe Certified Professional training course. And just so you know, that is not the same as it was before. It's a different certification. It's not the specialist certification. Apparently this one is beefed up and harder. But I think, was it David Bellinger said that he already passed it this year? So it is tougher, but he did pass it. It was good.
I think he said if you're familiar with OO especially, you should be okay.
Cool. So probably doing more member functions and stuff like that, and I bet so. Um, those who don't use them, it might be a lot harder. But the cool thing is they got this awesome pricing right now. So the event itself is only $99, and then the workshop is just $99 or $100 more. So that's a pretty good deal. I mean, they're discounting it massively. Like I said, we've been looking at trying to get some space to do our own workshops for Ortus, and everything is very booked up. And for those people that's not booked up, it's ridiculously priced. So they are discounting this massively. But we're still working on our workshops. We're trying to give you guys something. We're just going to try and make sure it's affordable. So we are working on that. Hopefully we can get that done. But I guess he says the regular cert price is $150, so you save at the conference. That is cool. Yeah, because previously when we looked at this, the premium pass was $399, and so they dropped it down, $200 more. So either way, it's a good deal, and I mean just the meals alone, 2 days of meals for $99 is pretty good considering how much everything costs in Vegas. But it's always a good time. So we'll be there. Hopefully we'll see you there as well. But check that out. Again, early bird pricing ends end of June for that. So if you want to save some money, book that one as well.
Awesome. Also coming up later this year, Into the Box Latin America, December 7th. We'll have more information hopefully soon, but look for that coming out. Also, we've been announcing CF Camp, no CF Camp for 2022. Hopefully, they'll be in summer 2023. We'll find out more next year, but just a reminder.
Yeah. I heard whispers that they're already starting to plan, hopefully, but we'll find out more when it's more official. But it's good news. I say I've been wanting to go there forever. Want to get to Europe and check that out. So
that's in Germany, right? CF Camp.
Yep. Usually at the airport or close to the airport in Munich most of the time. But if they don't have it, I guess I'll just have to come harass other people in Europe. So okay.
That would be awesome to go.
Yep. And next up, again, if you don't have enough conferences, comms.tech has a lot of great stuff. You can find them there. Okay, blogs, tweets, and videos of the week. We have a lot of them, but the first one we'll show you is one from you, Daniel. You've been busy lately working on a lot of customer projects, and one of these new tools, or new to you, and recently updated tool was CB Debugger, ColdBox Debugger. So he wrote a nice blog post here talking about getting started with it, and it's got a lot of updates lately, hasn't it?
It does. And one of the big things, besides being rewritten in Alpine UI, excuse me, the UI in Alpine JS, lots of enhancements and features, optimizations. It now supports database tracking for Adobe ColdFusion 2018 and higher, which is awesome. Just like we do it already for QB and Quick and CBORM, you can also do that.
It really is a Fusion Reactor Lite almost. I mean, I really like it. It's slick.
It is. There are definitely some, nuances, but if you don't want to do Fusion Reactor for whatever reason, you can thoroughly do this and get a lot of great info.
Yeah.
And I particularly like that. Oh, somebody mentioned to me that they didn't realize, hey, because people are used to seeing it at the bottom of a web page. Get the little UI panel, and well, what if I have an API? Yeah, you can absolutely use this for APIs because you can go to your website /CB Debugger and get the same debugger UI with all the debugging info. So if you've got a REST API that you're building out and want to use CB Debugger, you can do that. I mentioned that in the blog post as well.
Yeah.
So a really cool tool. They got some nice updates to it. If you haven't used it in a while or kind of forgot about it, check it out.
Yep. And Peter's asking, is it ColdBox specific? It is ColdBox specific. I'm not sure what it would take to make it work in something like CF Wheels. I mean, it just has some, interception points and stuff like that. So it kind of, things fire off at certain times and it listens. And so I'm not sure if it'll be compatible or not. But definitely look at some of the stuff we're doing in there. I'm sure you can get something pretty neat there, Peter, working in CF Wheels, though. But it's pretty slick. A lot of updates. And yeah, I've used it before and I'm really excited for the stuff with Quick and QB. I realized how badly I was using a few things, like just because using ORM and those types of things and Mementifier, it does a lot of work for you. So sometimes looking at it and see what it actually ran, you're like, oh wait, why is this an N+1 situation? Like that shouldn't be happening. And so I realized, oh, I was doing this and it didn't know I was doing that. So if I change one little thing, and then all of a sudden it's like it's 2 queries instead of like 31 queries for something. So it's pretty neat. I really like it.
I also like the CashBox features as well. So if you are using CashBox to cache different things, you actually get insights into what it's doing, what's there. You can even clear a cache if you want. So if you're doing some testing and whatever, so it's kind of nice too. It's a nice, easy way to get some inspection insights into your caching.
Yeah.
CashBox caching.
What do we got next?
Okay, so another blog/podcast series workshop, containerizing and scaling your applications with Captain Container John Clausen. It's a special podcast for attendees or undecided attendees. Basically, John is getting interviewed on what his workshop is and why you should attend, as well as some requirements, everything you need to know about the workshop, so that you can come and attend and hang out with John for the day and learn cool stuff.
Yep, so that blog post has pretty much the whole outline in it there too, and you can watch it on YouTube or listen to it on your favorite podcast app, or just go to the podcast website and watch it there too. Okay, so this one is another interesting one. Ben's always got interesting stuff, but I was actually tweeting with him right before the show about this. Oh, there's a flashback picture of Luis and Ben back at CF United 2008. That's crazy. Okay, so this one is considering a stale while revalidate pattern to caching Cold Fusion. And so he was listening to an episode of Syntax.fm where Scott and Wes were discussing HTTP caching headers, and basically he learned that there was an experimental value called stale while revalidate. And so basically this isn't about HTTP caching or any of that stuff, but the cool thing is, let me tell you the short part of it is basically when you ask for something, it'll say, here, I'm giving you the stale version of it, but in the background I'm going to go and revalidate and basically update my cache, so next time someone asks for it, it's going to be updated. And I was like, that's kind of cool. I'm already thinking about how we can update CashBox. But so it talks about, an optimization, because, if you had to wait for that to get done, sometimes your caching process might take a lot of time. And so this way, it's always going to basically go and get it behind the scenes, and so the next request is up to date. And so, there's a couple of different ways to do it. But basically it's using run async, and it was pretty neat. I liked the idea, and it got me thinking about new stuff. So pretty cool. But I hadn't thought about that. I mean, we do stuff similarly. We have gets or sets or whatever, and sometimes we'll have a task that'll go and run stuff in the background, so it's recently valid or whatever. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. So got me thinking.
Right on. And so coming up next, the first entry in the Peter corner. We're lobbying to get Peter's own corner, just like we have an Adam corner and a Ben corner. And he's working for it, people, let me tell you. So CF Wheels HTMX plugin published. A few weeks ago, I was working on a to-do app using CF Wheels on the back end, HTMX to provide the interactivity. I actually did not know what HTMX was. It sounded like an Alpine.js CBWire library to do reactivity within the code. So I definitely will be checking that out, but it looks cool.
Yeah,
it definitely looks cool.
It does look kind of cool. And so basically you give it a trigger, you give it a target, and then you tell it what you want to swap, HTML, outer HTML, etc. So it's kind of interesting. So you can do posts and posts and puts and patches and deletes, but yeah, pretty interesting. So
I got the link out there, so go check it out.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, I have to do some more research on that. I'm always get curious when they have stuff like that. Okay, so we also had a little community post from Brad, and this was in response to something else from Ben, so I guess it could be part of the Ben corner. But basically, Ben said, is there any way to control the text color of output when using system output in conjunction with server log following CommandBox? Be good for demos, etc. And so Brad answers it, but he goes through and rocks through, but basically talks about how you can add ANSI escape sequences in your text, so that way when it outputs it'll be different or whatnot. And so he tells you how to colorize it and everything too. You can change that type of stuff, but really detailed. But yeah, it's pretty neat. So again, something on Twitter didn't fit in the Twitter box, so we posted to the community forum so you guys can see that there.
Yep. And next up in the Peter corner, is CF Wheels, the Wheels CLI matures to version 1.0. So if you were not aware, like I was not aware, there is a CLI for CF Wheels. It's built as a module on top of CommandBox. Allows you to do all sorts of cool stuff with the framework, like generating scaffolding, tests, et cetera, et cetera. Gavin's posted the link. Yep, go check that out. And then go check on the docs that have the different CLI commands. So you guys are on fire lately, guys. Keep it up.
Yep, very cool. I'm just posting a link that David Ballinger tried to post earlier about the certification. I'm going to put that in the show notes for everyone who's going to be listening later, so it'll be there. But yeah, just want to let you guys know that there is a link there in the chat for that as well. So he's saying about the pricing and everything there. So check that one out. It just tells you more about the workshop. Okay, sorry about that. We just wanted to make sure we didn't get too far off there. Okay, and so I have a question for everybody. Do you guys pronounce it CLI or do you pronounce it CLI? You just trying to be funny, Daniel, or what? Because I'm like CLI, I'm like, ugh, that doesn't sit well with me. I guess it's like JOTs and JWTs.
You know, that's it. I've always just heard it as CLI.
Really? I've never heard anybody other than you call it a CLI. So that's all I'm asking.
Oh man, this is embarrassing. CLI.
Yep. Phonetically sounding out. So okay.
Oh man.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make you feel bad or anything. But
the community has spoken. Well, there's Adam just saying neither.
Yeah, neither. As in other words, he's never heard anybody else call it CLI. Sorry.
Oh,
sorry. By the way, everyone who doesn't know, me and Daniel, we like to harass each other. He's almost an honorary Kiwi in that respect because we have a rule in New Zealand. If we like you, we'll insult you. If we don't like you, we won't waste our time. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Oh, and to Adam, I think you are supposed to say GIF. I don't say GIF, but you're supposed to say GIF because the guy that wrote GIF pronounced it GIF. So you think you know better than the guy that wrote it? I don't think so, buddy. Although I say GIF all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's not get into one of those debates. We'll save that for the developer wars. You know, we could have that. It might be actually pretty good. So, okay. Cool. Well, next up, let's talk about Ben Adele. He's got a couple more regex ones. And so the first one not the first one, but this one, he's talking about playing with Java patterns named capture groups. And this is kind of cool. So he has another post we talk about. Actually, let's jump to that one first because they just make sense. So he was using JRE extract to pluck captured groups using regular expressions in Cold Fusion. And so it's kind of cool where you can basically have this big group pattern, and basically what it does is it goes and looks for all these different things when you try to extract things with groups. So if he passes in just a short URL, he's using URL as an example. It wouldn't be the actual use. It's just an example of how to do it. But so we'll scroll down here. So basically if he just passes index.html, it'll show the match, the protocol, the host name. So these are the different groups. These are the different pieces he was trying to match on. And so if you pass in a full URL, it would pull out all the different pieces for you. So it's kind of cool that this little bit here is 6 different things you want in the match. And you just say extract groups, passing this in. And then his little thing says, extract here. So it extracts this way. And then basically comes up with an array of items, and so each of the ones based on the pattern get extracted, and then you can output them. It's pretty cool. So this was pretty neat. I was like, this is a cool way to just do lots of different regexes at the same time. And then on this blog post, the one for the next day, he figured out that you can actually use naming inside your pattern, and then you don't need to worry about doing the this is this, this is that, and so. Up here, he's using that extraction, array syntax, right? With a name, it's actually a name struct. So now when he does it, the same type of thing, he's using a user, a hash, and a domain here. When he does that example, you see it has the user, hash, and domain. So in his code here for this, he can just say matcher.group user, matcher.group hash. Doesn't have to remember what order they were in or anything. It's actually user name. So I thought that was really cool. Now, of course, I got to figure out a use case where I actually want to use it, but it's still pretty cool. So, I guess there's 2 blog posts there for you covered by Ben. So,
right on. Well, since you called me out, Gavin, I did a quick search, and Adam is right. It is not pronounced CLI or CLI. It looks like people like to say, if you're going to say it, say the terminal or the command line. So there you go. We learned something new.
I don't believe that. I need
Hey,
proof.
that's what the internet says. Internet and Adam cannot be wrong.
Oh, really? Huh. Interesting.
Okay, so next up is in the box updates as of June 20th. We'll just go ahead and post a link out there. It's a lot of things we've been talking about already. The super early bird pricing ticket is over. You can get the early bird. We got more episodes of the podcast, et cetera, et cetera. Not to minimize it, but we got a lot of content and time is a ticking. So go check that out.
For sure. I just posted the link for the other one since I covered both at the same time. And then we also had content too, so I'll do this one real quick. The Ortus Solutions content digest. So we got a lot of stuff, and we posted a lot of stuff, and we posted a lot of stuff in a lot of places. So what we've been doing is giving you like a summary for the week. So you can see on the podcast, we had 3 different podcasts last week, one CFML News and a couple of conference ones. We had a ton of content on CFCasts, we had a ton of content on YouTube, and then blogs everywhere. So all of that's in one sort of like summary location, just to make it easy for you to grab it all. And we do it on Friday morning, so if you guys get bored at work, you got something to do. So there you go.
Yep, our goal is to have you never say, hey, I didn't hear about that. Because hopefully you've heard about it a few times.
Yep, exactly. I mean, to be honest, we did that because half the people in Ortus didn't know half the things we were posting everywhere, because there's a lot. So, you got another one from Peter?
I do, but I'm reading Adam's comment. Language is dynamic and evolutionary and intended to articulate concepts to other people. If they understand you, job done. I just don't think in this case, CLI as a usage structure would be a good option. Okay, I defer to other people.
Yeah. It makes a point though, as long as people understand. That's what I get mad with my kids. You know, when I say pizza instead of pizza, I'm like, oh, sorry, you don't want any of my pizza. You're gonna make fun of the way I say it. You don't get none, and they change.
Well, I don't. I'm with your kids on that one, Gavin.
Yeah.
Pizza.
Okay, but you know what I meant, so quit it.
Oh man, I am letting my Kiwi-ness show, aren't I? Anyway, so next up to round out the Peter corner is another CF Wheels added to the HTMX server-side examples page. So back in March, he published an example app. We took the to-do MVC spec, built it out. He's got a quick graphic of the UI of the app, and we'll go ahead and post that out so you can take a look.
Yep, and so that's using that CF Wheels and HTMX stuff. So interesting. So those blogs are related there too. It's kind of cool. I mean, there's a lot of cool different ways to do similar things these days. I wonder which one will win. Okay, so we have another one here. This one's an Ask Ben blog post extending the Cold Fusion session on a long-lived page. So someone new to Cold Fusion was asking Ben what to do. And I'm sure everyone's done this one way, shape, or form. But basically, creating a heartbeat using something like Ajax or whatever to go and hit the server periodically to let them know, hey, I'm still here. Hey, I'm still here. Hey, I'm still here. Obviously, you could use something like a JWT as well. Someone mentioned that as an option. That way it would be alive still afterwards, and that's a good option too. But usually for Cold Fusion sessions, some type of heartbeat type thing is a good approach. And so Ben has a little video here, and it sort of spells it out. So hopefully that one's useful to everybody. And like I said, it's something a lot of us have dealt with before over time, especially with long-lived apps doing blogs on content stores, like on like CMSs and whatnot. People always start typing and they never remember to click save, or then they click the save button and their session timed out and everything is lost and everybody gets mad. So it's pretty common. So
okay. See, Scott chimed in, separates terminal from the CLI. What we're finding out here, Gavin, is you ask a bunch of developers a question and get a bunch of different answers.
Yep.
Which is good, right? Because that's how we all learned.
Yep. Oh, and I forgot to announce earlier in the show, on the Box Team Slack, there's a MOD-podcast channel now, so you guys can get in there and talk about the podcast, and so we can take some of these conversations in there if you guys want to argue about the way we're saying things, and like pizza or CLI, CLI, etc. But so you get on the Box Team Slack, It's a public channel, so you can just jump in there and we can chit chat, and we'll try and give more announcements in there. And that way, we're not harassing the other 800 people or so in the main Box Team general channel with all our stuff. So if you guys want to jump in there, you can.
I will capitulate. I'm sure. I just
yeah, we'll get you there. It's okay.
I'll get there, kicking and screaming. Okay, so next, we talked about this already, but we have a podcast series, the Vue.js SPA, not SPA, and mobile app with REST APIs with Gavin Pickens. It's going to be the workshop coming up into the box. I will be TAing for Gavin. So we'll be with you. Come out, spend the day with us, learn how to do some cool stuff with the API, some Quasar, wiring it all up together. By the time you go home, you will have some nice working examples of things you can use.
Yep. And I pronounce that SPA, not SPA, but anyway.
Oh, man. This is going to be a thing.
What about the PWA? Do you go, pwah?
Pwah.
Pwah. Anyway.
I'm going to start doing this just to annoy people, like,
Yep.
It's a
Yep. Okay. So next up, we also have the podcast from CF Live, so the ACF and Lucy Roundtable Part 2. So a couple months ago, I think Charlie, Gert, Mark Drew, and Ben joined Michaela Light and talked about Adobe Lucy and where it was going and how to get help and just all sorts of different things. The show notes are available up on TerraTech's site, but we've also got the link for Part 1 there as well if you missed that. But another Part 1 was really, really popular, so they're there for you guys to check out too.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my copy paster is having issues.
No problem. Well, I'll explain the next one. So Nolan Erf, whose website and company is South of Shasta, is actually looking for a part-time CFML developer. So we put a little blog post out there just so you guys can check that out. And we'll mention it again in the job section. But if you guys are looking for a part-time job, they're looking as well.
Okay, then also, as we mentioned earlier, we got a blog from Luis Mahano about adding Mailgun support for ColdBox Mailservices. Big thanks to Scott Steinbeck for helping do that and getting it all in there. But so yeah, if you install CBMailServices out of the box, you now have Mailgun support along with Postmark and files and CF Mail. Yep. If you do use CBMailServices and you want to do SendGrid, there is a SendGrid ForgeBox module out there that will work as CBMail that Eric put together. So lots of cool things to do with CBMailServices, and this is just another one of them.
Yeah, there's actually a few other ones too I'd never even heard of up on ForgeBox as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember we were talking about that the other day. It's like we need a new category or some other better way to find like the CBMailServices protocols, because same thing with CashBox,
Logbox.
Yep, and all those different provider setups, because you want to find the module, but then all the things you can plug into it. So we'll be working on that. But we also announced the pre-conference and third track for Into the Box as well. So we talked about that a couple times already, but the blog is there. And then blog
for the So again, this Friday, Koding with Kiwi and friends. So we started the other week. We going through here, doing a live streaming, hanging out with Gavin and all his friends as he works through some stuff, figure some stuff out, get some spirited conversations going, and it's kind of a cool hang. But again, the asterisk is you need to be a Patreon supporter, which you can become for as little as
just $10 a month, I think.
Yeah. Yep. So, or if not, wait till after and you can see the videos. But it's fun. It's turning into something kind of fun and cool. And
yep. The cool club hangs out on Friday afternoons.
Yeah, there's Gavin, there's Peter, Adam's sometimes there, Woody Broom's there, Dave Bellinger's there. A lot of cool people.
Oh, look! Peter just shared a way using HTMX through like a polling thing, and basically it's a div which gets to the latest updates and then has a trigger every 1 second. So it's using natural language for every 1 S to re-trigger periodically. That's pretty cool. I like that. So I wonder how to do that in other things. But yeah, let's say this stuff is cool. Okay, well that wraps up our blogs, tweets, videos of the week. I think that's enough. Let's talk about Find a Job. So we do have about 97 jobs listed on getcfmljobs.com. One listed new on the website, which is a Cold Fusion developer at Remote. Man, Remote's hiring a lot of people. And that's posted on June 21st. And so we're sharing that link there. And we still have that Patreon-sponsored job posting from Haggerty Motorsport Reg. We've been showing the videos in previous episodes, and they've got quite a few people signing up, and they're working through the process. But if you'd like to join them and get in the driver's seat to work with a cool team, working with a lot of organizations in the motorsport field, they're still looking. They're looking for senior software engineers working primarily with Node, Vue.js, ColdFusion, and AWS to improve their platform and build greenfield experiences.
Yep. And then, as always, other job links. We have Ortus Solutions. We are hiring because it seems like we're perpetually hiring, but check us out. About us/careers. Clear Capital, Carol from the Working Code podcast has a job posting out there. We'll post that link out there. As we mentioned earlier, Nolan Irk, the south of Shasta, looking for a part-time CFML developer. We'll post that out there as well. And then just as a reminder, there is a jobs channel in the CFML Slack team as well as the Box team Slack now too. If you want to go out there, post what you're looking for, and if you're looking for something, check it out.
Yep, for sure. Okay. ForgeBox module of the week. This week, we're going to be talking about the CB debugger. As we mentioned, the ColdFusion debugger module is a lightweight performance monitoring tool and profiling tool for ColdBox applications. It can generate a nice debugging panel on every page rendered, and like we did mention too, it's got a cool little sort of catch-all if you go to /CB debugger as well. And apparently, if you look at the docs, it says it's makes your ColdBox application development nicer, funner, and greater. And the funner is spelled wrong, and funner is not right in the first place, but it's more wrong until that pull request that you submitted is pushed out. So, but yeah, Daniel mentioned there's a lot of feature updates in this new version. So the UI has been rewritten in Alpine, tracks requests, exceptions more, and now we've got better abilities to attract databases for QuickQB, CBORM, and Adobe CF 2018 as well. And the Cashbox stuff is pretty slick. So a lot of cool stuff there. And as we mentioned, you wrote a blog article to how to get started, and I think that's a great way to get into this as well. So,
yep. And again, if you didn't know, you can use this on an API-only site with no views or front ends just by going to /CB debugger.
Yep. And when you do, you'll see this image for those who are watching, where you see, it's a GET request to this, it tells you the event name and everything, how many milliseconds it took, etc. So, it looks a lot like Fusion Reactor in some way. So usually if you're on the page, you just see that page's request. But if you go to /CB debugger, you see a list of all the requests that your site is getting. And of course, it's meant to be for development. Don't recommend using it in production or anything like that. But yeah.
Yeah, so there is some overlap with Fusion Reactor as far as some of the requests and some of the database insights. But then there's some things like the caching and some of the specific ColdBox request stuff that you're not going to get in Fusion Reactor, and sometimes you just need something quick to see what's going on.
Yep, and I admit Fusion Reactor is awesome, and I think you should still use it. But the CB debugger is kind of like the nice little tools, before you have to get Fusion Reactor out. Okay, well that wraps up our ForgeBox module of the week. VS Code hint, tip, and trick of the week. This one here, I'll let you talk about this one a little bit because you wanted to add this one.
I did add this one. So basically, I'll post the link here. It's a quick extension called lorem ipsum. So a lot of times you need to dummy up some text and just to generate some just garbage to fill out some things of the page. There's this cool little extension called lorem ipsum. Just do the Control-Shift-P to type lorem ipsum, and then you'll be able to select, do I need a line, a paragraph, multiple paragraphs? Just a nice way to just stub out some stuff.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I remember when lorem ipsum was big and some other tools had plugins for it, and like Bacon Ipsum was a big one, and there was a whole bunch of variations of it. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, with stuff like this, there are lots of ways to do it, but it's just kind of handy sometimes. You find a quick little utility. Hey, this just solves a problem, does one thing, does it well, and I can move on to something else.
Yep, so you can get that on the marketplace with VS Code. Okay, so next up, we've had our Patreon supporters. So somehow we managed to get through it on the hour, but we want to thank all our Patreon supporters. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do all these open source projects like CommandBox, ForgeBox, ColdBox, ContentBox, TestBox, and all of our other boxes and this podcast. A big part of this obviously is our cloud infrastructure that we rely on for ForgeBox and package management with CommandBox, and we highly recommend using those. So this is really great. And you can support us on patreon.com/AutoSolutions. We do have the memberships. For annual memberships, you can save 10%, which is nice. And there's some pretty cool perks. So the big perk here is you can join the live stream with Koding and the Kiwi and Friends, or the Koding Disasters with the Kiwi and Hecklers, whatever you want to call it. Also, bronze packages and up, get the ForgeBox Pro and CFCasts subscriptions as their perk. You can also get access to the basic special little forum on the community website, and you have a profile badge on the community website for all Patreon supporters. And now we have our own private Patreon channel inside the Box Team Slack for just short little bits and pieces in there, so we can chit chat about things, and I'll put announcements about coding with the Kiwi and stuff like that. And in the future we might have stuff like office hours, etc., when I'm not coding live and making a fool of myself. But a lot of cool things there to become a Patreon supporter, and like I said, your money goes straight into things like hosting and services like that, which actually money that would come out of our pocket, and gives us more to do all those other things that you guys like so much, we think, hopefully. But yeah, so you want to run through these awesome Patreons and tell us about who they are?
I do. I will run through all these awesome Patreoners. Patreoners.
Apparently Patreon's a site. They're called patrons, but I don't like it when people say, thanks for patronizing our podcast. Because I'm like, wait a minute, you're patronizing me?
We get enough of that from the chat.
Yeah, they do patronize us. But yeah, so apparently that's where it came from, because basically in the old days, people would basically sponsor someone like an artist or whatever, because they wanted more art in the world, but artists don't make money, so they would pay for them. And so patronizing is essentially, it's basically, like, hey, some snobby person with lots of money and condescendingly telling me what to do. So that's kind of why I think patronizing came out, which is funny because I never really thought about that until I heard that somebody use it that way. I'm like, wait a minute, that's probably where it came from, because you're patronizing people. But thank you for patronizing us, because we enjoy it.
As Adam says, there, Gavin, it's fine. Okay, so all these awesome people: John Wilson from Synaptrix, Brian Gianelli from Haggerty Motorsport Reg, Jordan Clark, Eric Hoffman, Gary Knight, Mario Rodriguez, Giancarlo Gomez, David Bellinger, Dan Codd, Jonathan Parrott, Jeffrey McGee with Sunstar Media, Dean Mounder, Will DeBruin, Joseph Lamery, Don Bellamy, Jan Yannick, Lakshma Tuchahadi, Carl Van Stetten, Jeremy Adams, DDR Lesnicki, Matthew Clemente, Daniel Garcia, Scott Steinbeck with Agri Tracking Systems, Ben Nadell, Brett DeLine, Kai Koenig, Charlie Earhart, Jonas Erickson, Jason Diger, Sean Oden, Matthew Darby, Ross Phillips, Edgardo Cabezas, Patrick Flynn, Stephanie Mungi, John Wish, Kevin Wright, and Peter Amiri. So as always, you can see an update list of all sponsors on the Ortus Solutions website. We'll get that link out there and go check them out.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big list. We're going to have to start trimming by level. Sorry, everybody, but I'll talk about it. Yeah. Yep, that takes a while to get through them all, but we are really appreciative. It does mean a lot to us, and we're hoping, sorry, I just read Adam's chat. So, excellent episode, team. Not voiced patronizingly, or was it? It's okay.
I'd like to hear from everyone else, because apparently, 10 developers give you 10 different viewpoints on something. Yep. So was it good? Was it bad? Was it?
I don't know. So let me get the Box Team link real quick, because I think if we go to Box Team...
Oh, that's right. You can chat on there.
Roku. I forget the name of it.
Joseph likes it. Peter likes it.
Yep.
Adam likes it. David. Oh, this is awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yep, thanks guys. We really appreciate your feedback, and glad you guys can join us live in the chat. And for those listening on your podcast player, we still like having you guys listen.
Absolutely. So, and as always, if there's something you want different or something, reach out to us privately. We'll listen.
Yep, and then in that Box Team Slack, if you guys got some news yourself that you're worried that we might miss or whatever, actually, I did miss something, and I even just remembered right now. Oh my gosh! So there's been some release. And it just hasn't hit our radar for whatever reason. But if I go back, the Gregory Alexander has been made a 3.0 release of his CMS. And so I'm going to post that right now. But he's been posting them all, but I guess the blog aggregator didn't pick him up or they're not tweeting with the right things. But he's been releasing a bunch of stuff. He's been like, why are you guys not covering my stuff? I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know it was there. So I'm supposed to be adding that aggregator. So sorry, Gregory. He's been doing a lot of work on it. He's really improved it a ton. He's done a ton of work, and it's looking like a pretty cool CMS. So yeah, check it out. He's got 3.0 just got released. It does look pretty cool. And sorry again, Greg, I'm going to put that in the top of the blog post section, but there's a ton of great content in there. So if you guys are looking for a CMS written in ColdFusion, this might be the one for you. So check it out. And thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll catch you all next week, hopefully.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Show notes for this episode can be found at cfmlnews.modernizeordie.io, where you can also subscribe to your favorite podcast player like Spotify or iTunes. We also have the link to YouTube to find more videos just like this. The music used in this podcast is under a royalty-free license from Sound.com and Blue Tree Audio.